The greatest hero the Star Wars expanded universe ever had was killed off because George Lucas thought his story was too good. This is the story of Anakin Solo, the hero we were supposed to get. He was the third child of Han Solo and Leia Organa, the younger brother to the twins, Jacen and Jaina. And yes, Leia named him Anakin. She wanted to redeem the name of her father, to see in her son everything Anakin Skywalker could have been before he became Darth Vader. But that name was a burden. From the moment he was born, Anakin lived in fear of the shadow of his grandfather, terrified that he carried the same darkness inside him. And the galaxy didn't make it easy. Before he was even born, the reborn Emperor Palpatine tried to possess his body. As a child, he was constantly being kidnapped by Imperial remnants who sensed his insane potential in the Force. He wasn't like his siblings. While Jacen was the philosopher and Jaina was the pilot, Anakin was the genius mechanic, the puzzle solver. The Force wasn't some mystical thing to him. It was a tool, something he could use and understand on an intuitive level, like breathing. When he was just a kid, he accidentally imprinted himself on Centerpoint Station, an ancient superweapon the size of a planet, and later used it to stop a star from going supernova, saving billions of lives. He was special, and everyone knew it. Then came the Yuuzhan Vong War. This is where Anakin's story truly begins, and where it tragically ends. The Vong were invaders from outside the galaxy, religious zealots who used organic technology and were completely invisible to the Force. The Jedi were powerless, and the galaxy was burning. One of the first major tragedies of the war hit Anakin personally. He was with his father and Chewbacca on the planet Cern Pidal when the Vong crashed its moon into the surface. In the chaos of the evacuation, Anakin was knocked away. Chewie saved him, throwing him back towards the Millennium Falcon, but the Wookiee was left behind. Anakin was at the controls, his father screaming at the ramp, but it was too late. He had to pull the Falcon up, leaving Chewbacca to be crushed by the falling moon. For months, Han Solo couldn't even look at his own son. He blamed him. Anakin carried that guilt, that failure, for the rest of his short life. That trauma forged him into a weapon. He became the Jedi's best hope. He single-handedly rediscovered lost Force techniques like battle meditation and created the Force meld that allowed Jedi pilots to fight as one. He was the one developing tactics, designing droids and leading the charge. He was seen as the next Luke Skywalker, the future of the Jedi Order. But his pragmatism put him at odds with his brother Jacen. During one battle, Anakin could have used Centerpoint Station to wipe out the entire Vong fleet, but Jacen talked him out of it, arguing it was against the Jedi way. A moment later, their evil cousin fired the weapon anyway, destroying the Vong but also a huge part of the Allied Hapan fleet. Anakin knew he could have done it cleanly, and the rift between the brothers grew deeper. His greatest feat came on a mission to Yavin 4. His best friend and the girl he loved, Tahiri Vela, had been captured and was being tortured and brainwashed by the Vong. Anakin went after her alone. During the rescue, he discovered something no other Jedi had, a way to sense the Yuuzhan Vong through the Force. He attuned his lightsaber to a Vong creature's living crystal, and suddenly, the invisible enemy was visible to him. He saved Tahiri, and in doing so became a legend not just to the Republic, but to the Vong's own outcast underclass, who started to see him as a prophesied saviour. But the Vong had an answer to the Jedi, a creature called the Voxine, specifically bred to hunt and kill Force users. They were devastating. So a desperate plan was hatched, a suicide mission to the Vong world ship over the planet Merca to kill the Voxine Queen. A strike team of 17 young Jedi was assembled, and their leader was 17-year-old Anakin Solo. The mission was a catastrophe from the start. They were ambushed, betrayed, and hunted relentlessly through the jungles of the world ship. The team was picked off one by one. Their friends died in horrible ways. With their numbers dwindling and the Vong closing in, the remaining Jedi were trapped. They had one last chance to get to the Queen, but they needed time. Anakin made the choice. He told Tahiri he loved her, and she, crying, told him he'd have to come back for the kiss he wanted. He never did. He stayed behind to hold off an entire army of Yuuzhan Vong warriors by himself. He stood as the lone Jedi against an overwhelming tide, and in his final moments, he let go of everything. He became one with the Force, a blinding pillar of pure white light, disintegrating his enemies with raw energy before his body finally gave out, and he was struck down. His sacrifice worked. The team killed the Queen, and the tide of the war eventually turned. But the cost was immense. Anakin's death broke his family. Jaina flirted with the dark side in her grief. Tahiri was left shattered, and his brother Jason was captured. The cheerful, philosophical boy was tortured and twisted by his grief and his experiences, and he began a slow, terrible fall. Years later, Jason Solo would become the new Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Caedus. The death of the brother he once argued with over morality was the core wound that festered and turned him to darkness. In a final, horrific act of cruelty, Caedus used his brother's memory to corrupt Tahiri, using the Force to let her relive her final moments with Anakin, twisting her love for him into a tool for the dark side. The hero's name was even slapped on the side of Caedus's flagship Star Destroyer, a symbol of the new oppressive order. Anakin Solo was the hero who was meant to save the galaxy, the one who carried the weight of the Skywalker name and redeemed it with his courage and sacrifice. But in the end, his death didn't just save the galaxy. In a twisted, tragic irony, his absence created the very darkness he died fighting against.